I'm waiting for the sun to dip below the horizon in the hope of seeing one of Orkney's shyest mammals. I was always told this strange twilight we call the Gremlins was the best time to encounter an otter. But my eyes need time to adjust to the dim light, unlike the short-haired owl hunting nearby on silent wings. I know an otter lives on this stretch of shore, but he could easily slip away into the darkness unnoticed. In this half-light, I need keen senses to pick up the dark slip of an otter moving through the water. I need something I can follow. And there he is, his unmistakable shape now betrayed by the last of the day's light. Seeing an otter disappear into the small hours like this is always special, but frustrating too. And yet, daytime sightings of otters are on the increase in Orkney. But I do wonder if sightings on social media really mean more otters, or if we just have better means of sharing stories. The otter's elusive nature has turned into fascination for me, so I've set out to try and unravel some of the secrets of Orkney's otters. An otter has 3 basic needs: a food supply, a hole to rest and sleep in, and access to fresh water. At first glance, Orkney has these resources in abundance, and yet surveys suggest the number of otters here are much lower than in Shetland, which has the highest density of otters in Europe. A clue as to why might lie in how we've changed the face of our landscape. In Shetland, blanket peat is the favoured medium for holts, but this habitat is now rarely found in Orkney, the land having been drained and pasture now covering much of the Isles right down to the shore. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why it can be so difficult to find holts here. Despite this, otters are widespread throughout Orkney. But I'm not going to look outwards to the coast, but inland to one of the best places to see them, Stenislaw. One of the quickest ways to find out if otters are around is to use a trail camera, which does much of the hard work for you. I can already see that there's lots of spraint here, so this is a good place to start. Otters use spraint as a calling card, where they gain information about each other, but also let other otters know that they're in the area. So I'm putting my camera down next to this burn in the hope of seeing who's using this place. Success is surprisingly quick. A mother and cub are regulars here, visiting almost every night. This is clearly an important place for them, but all this activity is taking place in the dark. So to see daytime hunting otters, I'm going to have to look elsewhere. The sea enters Stenislaw here at the Brig of Waith on its southern end, and is connected to the freshwater Harry Loch on its east side. These features make this massive loch the largest brackish lagoon in the UK. This is the favoured hunting area for an amazing mother and her family. This is the second time I've seen her raise 3 cubs to this stage. I love seeing the cubs engage in these play-fighting antics. It uses a lot of energy and suggests the mum is doing a great job, finding plenty of food for them. The brig can look tranquil, but once the tide turns, the water can really flow here. She loves to hunt in this channel where the current's strongest, fishing for scorpionfish and flatfish amongst the thick stands of egg rack. She clearly does well here, but this is essentially still the sea, and I'm keen to explore the further reaches of the loch. I've seen an otter hunting amongst the seaweed very close to shore, and I want to experience what his environment is like. The water in the loch is shallow, with an average depth of just 3 metres. There's no current here, and serrated wrack, a species that outcompetes other seaweeds in brackish water, carpets the cobbled loch floor. The rays of sparkling light are really beautiful, but it's disorienting too. The murky green water is full of movement and bubbles. I haven't seen a single fish, but this isn't my world. This is the otter's world, one where its senses excel. An otter's eyesight is good at short distances underwater, but imagine hunting in here when the light is poor and the water rough. It's then it relies on its sensitive whiskers, expertly hunting fish amongst these thick swathes of seaweed. Encounter with a dog otter on those rarest of days, a flat calm morning, helps give me an intimate insight into the life of an Orkney otter. His behaviour perfectly displays the energetic knife edge that otters live on. These conditions are a real treat. The water's so calm that after diving, I know where he'll rise by following his bubbles. Normally, I'd want my scent to be taken away from an otter, so that I could watch it undetected, but there's not a breath of wind today. This otter is unusual, or confident. He knows I'm close by, yet he carries on with his normal behaviour. He has a high metabolic rate to help keep him warm, but maintaining it means catching enough prey, and so he must spend a lot of time in the water fishing, which means getting cold. Otters have virtually no fat, and so he relies on his dense fur for insulation. He avoids getting cold by foraging in short bouts, returning to the shore periodically to warm up. Shaking can expel up to 70% of the water from his fur, but he needs to roll around in the grass to squeeze the rest out, grooming and keeping his fur in pristine condition before returning to the water to hunt again. Loch is brackish, but here on its eastern side, there's less than 10% salt in the water, which means that he can drink straight from the loch and doesn't have to worry too much about salt crystals forming in his fur. But it's his main prey item that I think is crucial to his success here. Time and again he returns to the surface with a long, slippery customer, sometimes even two at a time. European eels. Judging by the rate otters catch them all around the loch margins, they must be super abundant, and the perfect source of high nutrition food for an otter. Loch seems to have everything an otter needs to be successful. A sheltered inland sea full of eels, fresh water, and the extensive agricultural land surrounding the loch actually works to their advantage. So little of it is accessible to people, they can live here on the margins without being disturbed. Spending time with an otter that knows I'm close by, but is confident and relaxed enough to fall asleep in front of me, is really rare, but a real privilege. I hope you can continue to thrive here, on the shores of Loch.